Hey guys, super excited to be bringing you 8 of my top holiday recipes that I love to make every year for the holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas. I've got 5 kind of main course recipes for you to make for a large family gathering. And then later in the video, I'm also going to be showing you 3 totally delicious finger food appies that are great to just have on the table while you're kind of making all the other foods for guests to nibble on. Just lovely little simple, delicious foods that everyone will love. Everything's plant-based and gluten-free in this video. So if that sounds like your jam, make sure you subscribe below because I'm all about vegan and gluten-free. And that's it. Let's get into these epic holiday recipes. Maple spiced yams have got to be one of my absolute favorite holiday side dishes. They're as simple as chopping up a whole bunch of yams into a bowl, tossing them with a little bit of oil and maple syrup, some cinnamon, garlic powder, black pepper, some salt. Give it all a real good toss, transfer to a baking tray, and bake for 30 to 40 minutes until golden, a little bit crisped around the edges, and fork tender. They are melt in your mouth, sweet, savory goodness that everyone always loves. Alrighty, we're putting a little bit of a spin on a traditional Thanksgiving stuffing by using cornbread. Seriously, next level, you guys. So we're gonna saute up some onion and celery with some fresh rosemary and sage in copious amounts of vegan butter, might I add. Add some salt and pepper and poultry seasoning and let that cook down until they're nice and soft. Into a large bowl, we're gonna grate some carrots, gonna add some pecans and a batch of dried cornbread. This can be homemade or store-bought. Add in about a cup of veggie broth at a time. Stir up the stuffing until it's soaked through and nice and soft. Transfer it to a buttered casserole dish and bake in the oven for about half an hour until the top layer is nice and golden with a little bit of crispy crunchiness, and you're good to go. Seriously, so incredibly yummy. Let's make some sweet and tangy Harvard beets. My family has been eating these for decades. You're gonna need a couple cans of canned beets, and then pour the beet liquids plus some vinegar, salt, brown sugar, and vegan butter into a saucepan with some cornstarch. Stir until heated through and thickened. Add the canned beets back into the sauce and heat through. And you have yourself a simple, sweet and tangy, delicious veggie side dish. Dill and garlic, it's a match made in mashed potato heaven, in my humble opinion. So you're gonna boil up some yellow potatoes. Make sure you've cubed them up so that they mash a little bit better. Mash them up a little bit. I call this the preliminary mash. Then we're gonna add in a couple tablespoons of plant-based butter and some plant-based cream cheese. You can mash that all together until the cream cheese and the butter has kind of melted into the mix. And then we're gonna take some fresh garlic cloves and fresh baby dill, and we're going to mince those up finely, and then we're just gonna add them directly to the mashed potatoes. The dill and the garlic add so much delicious, vibrant, fresh flavor, and it's just so incredibly tasty. Then all you gotta do is season to taste with salt and pepper. I say go heavy on the salt, and then to help things kind of blend and mash better together, you can add a little bit of plant-based milk, or if you have plant-based cream, that's a great option here too. Mash everything now until it's well combined. Some chunks are okay, but try to get as many of the chunks out as possible, and now you're left with a totally creamy, delicious, flavorful, garlicky dill mashed potatoes. Let's make my favorite plant-based turkey for the holidays. Let's season up some rehydrated soy curls with a little bit of soy sauce, some cornstarch and nutritional yeast, plus a little bit of poultry seasoning for extra flavor, and give it a good tossy-tossy. Transfer that to an air fryer and crisp up for about 20 minutes. In the meantime, we're gonna make a bangin' onion gravy. Saute up a bunch of onions until they're nice and caramelized and golden brown, then make a quick roux with some flour and plant-based butter and a little bit of veggie broth. Whisk it up until it's nice and thick, y'all. I like to make it extra salty with a little bit of soy sauce, no shame. Add a little extra flavor and richness with some nutritional yeast and a little bit of that poultry seasoning. Add in those sauteed onions, give it a good stir, num 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 num, and you can put that on anything your heart desires. It is especially good with my soy curl turkey strips, and that is how easy it is to make plant-based soy curl turkey and gravy. And now let's move on to the appies slash finger foods that are perfect for the holidays. I love making these every year. First up, we're making these totally vegan, cheesy crab stuffed mushrooms. This has got to be one of the neatest finger foods I've veganized lately, as it tastes ridiculously similar to crab with a slight seafood aroma. So let's start by preparing the mushrooms. You can use baby bellas or white mushrooms, just try to pick ones that are relatively large in size. You're going to carefully remove the stems by twisting them until the hollow cap is revealed. Don't throw away the stems, as we'll be using them in a couple of minutes. Now just arrange the mushroom caps whole size down on an air fryer basket, and we're gonna pre-air fry them for 3 minutes just to help them slightly soften and release some moisture before stuffing them. In the meantime, grab your rinsed canned chickpeas and pour them into a flat bottom bowl. You're gonna grab a fork or a potato masher, whatever you prefer, and mash the heck out of them. We want them to be positively smashed up, and if you're feeling extra lazy, you can do this in a food processor. I won't judge. Back to those mushroom stems, we're gonna cut away any yuck parts and mince the remaining parts until they sort of resemble shredded crab meat. Doesn't have to be pretty or perfect, just chop them up until they look something like this. See? Kinda looks meaty. I thought so. Now add those right into the bowl of the mashed chickpeas and then throw in some vegan mozzarella cheese shred, because you can't have stuffed mushrooms without some sort of cheesy goodness. Then for a nice little kick of heat and flavor, you're gonna add about a teaspoon of Old Bay seasoning, and lastly for the creaminess factor, some vegan mayo. That's it, peeps. Chickpeas, cheese, Old Bay, and mayo. It's so easy. Now just give that all a really good stir to combine everything really well until it's nice and mashy. Now that those mushrooms have pre-air fried, it's time to stuff them. Stuff them real good. I prefer to do this over a cutting board or a cutting mat just to prevent any extra mess falling into my air fryer basket. So grab a tablespoon or a small cookie dough scoop and basically add about 2 tablespoon sized dollops of the crab filling and carefully plop that into the mushroom cap. The first go is always a little messy and tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. Just make sure you press the filling down really nicely into the cap and basically overfill it into a nice little mound like I did here. Top with extra mozzarella, pop them in the air fryer until they're golden and melty, and boom! You now have a totally game-changing appy that is going to be the talk of all your friends, real and imaginary. Ooh, just look at those babies. That golden, melty, cheesy goodness is just so flipping good. I don't know how, I really don't, but they have a certain mild seafood flavor and smell. It's the combination of the chickpeas and the mushrooms, I'm telling you, major yum. Serve them up on a nice little serving board or platter and sprinkle on some fresh herbs if you're fancy like that. I just use chopped parsley. And now you can go to town. Literally just go. Show the townspeople what you've done. Once they try out these bad babies, you'll have made a lot of new friends. I mean, just look at those crispy edges and the meltiness and the meatiness. Oof. Damn, do they ever smell good. If you didn't think there was a way to veganize a cheese ball, ho, let me tell you, you are in for a treat. All you have to do is crumble up a block of extra firm tofu with some soaked cashews in a food processor and blend them up. Once they're a little bit crumbled looking, you can add some yellow mustard, coconut milk, tamari, lemon juice, fresh rosemary, and a whole bunch of spices. These are gonna add so much good flavor, you guys. Blend it up until it's a nice, smooth, creamy mixture. Roll it up into a ball in some plastic wrap, putting it in a bowl helps. Freeze it for a couple of hours and then roll it around in some delicious toppings. I really like what I've chosen here, but you can use pretty much anything you want. Let it chill in your fridge for about 30 minutes and you're good to go. Serve it with some crackers and veggies and you have an amazing holiday appetizer everyone will love. Next, we are zesting up a childhood favorite of mine, the classic pinwheel. Using cheap and yummy ingredients, this infamous potluck staple comes together in a pinch, especially if you're looking for a last-minute appy. So you'll need first 1 container of vegan cream cheese. I'm just using plain, but any flavor you like can be used here. Scrape out that whole container into a large mixing bowl, and next, for some crunchy texture and a pretty pop of color, add in some chopped red and green bell peppers. Cause, you know, Christmas colors, red and green, right? Now to bring a little heat and pickly goodness to the mix, throw in some chopped pickled jalapenos. And lastly, some spices to add extra flavor. We got garlic powder, paprika, dried chives, salt, and pepper. Using a fork, now you're just gonna mash and mix all those ingredients together until you have a creamy yet chunky filling. Yum! Now you'll just need some tortillas. They can be whole wheat or gluten-free and in any color or flavor you like. Now for perhaps the best ingredient in this entire recipe, jalapeno pepper jelly. Oh my god, trust me, you'll be able to find this at almost any grocery store this time of year as it's very popular during the holidays. So spread on a thin layer of that on one side of a tortilla and then add a nice layer of the cream cheese filling over top, almost right to the edges of the tortilla. It's chunky for sure, but we like that. Now just carefully roll up the tortilla into a nice little log, ensuring the edges are nicely sealed. Transfer to a plate, repeat with the remaining filling, and refrigerate for 30 minutes to firm it up slightly. Then using a sharp kitchen knife, carefully cut the rolls into slices that are roughly between 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick. Any bigger and you won't be able to fit it in your mouth, and any smaller it might fall apart on you. Ooh, that was all very satisfying to watch. Even more satisfying to eat. Now just transfer the pinwheels to a serving board and arrange them as you please. I made mine to a little Christmas tree. Isn't it so
so cute. Lastly, for a perfect pop of festive color, why not garnish with some chopped cilantro? Seriously, these are unreal. The chewy texture of the tortilla, the cream cheese, the crunch of the bell peppers, and the sweet heat from the jalapeno pepper jelly, these are gonna get absolutely devoured.
There you go, guys. I hope you love this video and are gonna make some of these delicious recipes. I'm wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving, a Merry Christmas, or whatever it is that you celebrate during this time of the year. I send you guys lots of love, and I'll see you in another video real soon. Bye-bye.